Art to Art. Tony Mellen, sculptor. Esther SCHOUTEN sat down with St Andrews sculptor Tony Mellen to talk about his process ahead of the Spring Nillumbik Artists Open Studios event.
How long have you been working with sculpture, and what made you choose this medium?
I've been making things for most of my life. At the last Nillumbik Artists Open Studios in May of this year, I had my sculptures for sale for the first time. In the past, if someone liked one of my sculptures, then I would just give it to them. I have always loved wild places and the bush, especially the dry bush around Nillumbik, where the wood of the dead trees doesn't rot but desiccates, leaving beautiful patterns and shapes. With my job, working as a project manager for NGOs and other aid organisations, I've often stayed in remote places with beaches, forests and deserts. These wild places have been a source for finding objects that inspire me, things like wood, stone, coral, rock and old bits of metal. Interesting objects that then form the basis for my sculptures.
How would you describe the type of sculptures you make and the technique you use?
I am a self-described revelationist. If I see an object that has meaning or a story, I then work with the object to reveal that story to a broader audience. If I can reveal something intrinsically beautiful in an object, something which is not apparent to most people, then I can add value to that object and, at the same time, bring attention to the place where it comes from. In doing so, my hope is that it brings awareness to the beauty of that place and its worth, so that it can be valued and preserved.
What do you mean by work with the object?
Whatever a particular object needs to make its meaning clearer. For example, an edge smoothed or polished, or a stand or mount made.
What is your connection with Nillumbik?
Originally, I lived in Greensborough for around 20 years. During the 1990s, I was a regular walker in Plenty Gorge, and I walked all over it but rarely saw anyone. Perhaps people are scared of the bush or of the gorge. For a while, I went regularly to the St Andrews Market to busk and sing, in order to raise money for breast cancer research, part of the McGrath Foundation. That's when I fell in love with the area. So 10 years ago, I started looking for a place near St Andrews where I could establish a gallery, and was lucky enough to find this place, which was a house and a barn that I use as a studio and a gallery.
Does anyone else practice sculpture in your studio?
Not currently, but I would be open to having people come out and try their hand at my style of sculpture. I will be offering workshops shortly, with flyers available during the next Open Studios and also via a link on Instagram. One idea for a workshop is for people to make their own hanging hearts sculpture. When you visit my gallery, you will also see my sculptures for sale and stunning landscape paintings by my partner, Tracy Caldwell.
Do you work collaboratively?
Not yet, but I am open to the idea. For example, if you find an interesting object on your property, tree roots, fallen branches, a bit of metal, that might make a nice indoor or outdoor sculpture, I could help you make it into a finished object. Commissions are also possible if people would like me to do the work for them.
What is the role of sculpture in our society?
I'm not artistically trained, I'm self-taught. So for me, the best metaphor for sculpture is a bridge. Sculpture is a bridge between people and ideas, just another form of communication. An alternate communication that is potentially more effective than the usual forms of communication, as it is incredibly subjective and consequently very personal.
Can I buy your work outside of Open Studios?
Currently, I have work on display and for sale at Bridges Restaurant and Function Centre in Hurstbridge. Also, if people see work they like on my Instagram account, they can make contact with me that way. My studio is also open by appointment.
What do visitors to your studio find most interesting?
The Heart Path is both unusual and unique. It's a 200-metre path that visitors follow from the car park to the gallery, and along it are sculptures and installations that encourage people to follow their own heart. I have a thing for heart-shaped rocks and have collected them for over 40 years in many different countries and environs. They are displayed as I find them. So many are not perfect. There must be over 1,000 hearts by now. Some are displayed and hung along the path, and others can be seen in the gallery. Sometimes they form part of a sculpture. Writing is also an essential part of my work. Most of the works have an explanatory label. The label gives an insight into the meaning of the sculpture, often in the form of prose or poetry, and I find it helps people to connect to the work.
How did you join the Nellenbeek Artist Open Studios?
My partner Tracy and I visited artists during open studios in the past, so I knew how it worked. Last year, I contacted Nellenbeek Artist Open Studios and they agreed to let me join. It is an incredible program. It enables people in one weekend who have an interest in a particular area, artist, medium or locale to pursue that interest at their leisure. The program is well organised and easy to navigate with clear information available on the website, app and fold-out map. People can curate a trip based on their area of interest. Go check it out.
The next Nellenbeek Artists Open Studios event is not far away. The event features over 35 artists who open 27 studios to the public. Visit painters, metal artists, printmakers, textile artists, collage artists, luthiers, ceramicists and sculptors in their studios to see their art process and view their artworks. Entry is free. The spring edition takes place on the weekend of November 15-16 and 22-23. Studios are usually open from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. For more information, visit artistsopenstudios.com. This article was read by Rebecca Rose,
Sandy Miller,
James Poyner.